it's hip hop meets soul meets jazz meets some funk.
I mean,
there's some stuff that I don't want to give away, but yeah, like there's no house tracks per se, but the essence of it is
hip hop.
Is hip hop.
But I mean, we have one tune called "Breathe."
I don't want to give it away.
Well, come on, man.
What's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, it's Dave McRae.
Hey, I'm Josh from the band Need to Breathe.
I'm Olivia Lunny.
We are so excited to welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show, Akon. Hi.
What up, Kels?
Hey, I'm Judy Gold.
And I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show.
This is Jordan, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm Rob, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show right now.
Jealous?
I am so excited to welcome Adrian and Lucas of 80 Empire to the Kelly Alexander Show. Boys, how are you?
Good. What's going on? What's happening?
Well, we're super excited first of all, I'm super excited to meet you in person. We've been messaging back and forth the last several months, and now I've got you on the show. And you have a new album that's out called A Galactic Love Supreme, which features Doodlebug. There it is.
Yeah, vinyl right here.
Flip it on the other side, man.
We got to flip it. There we go.
What a great shot. And so, yeah, Doodlebug from Digable Planets. So I want all of my audience to know that. I cannot wait to talk to you all about this. So thank you again for joining us on the show.
Thank you for
having us, man. Glad to be here.
So let's start off with how did you both get into music, and were your favorite genres the ones that you are producing now, or did you listen to, I don't know, classical like growing up?
That's a great question. We've never been asked, like, are we still doing the genre that we started with?
Yeah.
That's a great question. We've never been asked that.
Yeah. I mean, our parents were always our background, our heritage is Italian Canadian. We were obviously born here, but our parents are first generation Italian. But they always had a love, obviously classical music, operas, but they always had a love for Black music, R&B, funk, soul music.
Yeah.
So as kids,
a lot of James Brown in the house. So as kids, our dad, who's a retired now hairdresser, he was, in Toronto, cutting hair for many decades, but he would go to record shops and buy R&B and buy soul music. So as kids, he'd come home and we'd have like dance parties as kids, on Every
Friday night. And it would be James Brown. It would be all the different funk in the 80s, SOS Band and the Gap Band and Zap and all that stuff. So
we give out to our parents on the album. I go like, I can't remember what to say. Oh, wait, Eyes on a Prize. That's where the Gangsta P and Julio. And something like that. And so we were just in Los Angeles a couple of weeks back, and we were talking about this with Doodlebug. Shout out to Doodlebug, man, our brother CK7, aka C Knowledge, and then King Crooked, another brother of ours, comrade of ours in this thing of hip hop. And we were talking about it, and I say that line, and I'm like, a lot of people think Gangsta P and Julio are street dudes. Gangsta P is our mother, Patty, Padrizia, and Julio, and Papa J, or like what we call our dad, it's
Papa
Julio.
J, yeah.
So they were laughing. They're like, yo, we thought these were like street dudes you're talking about.
But they kind of were our inspiration. Our inspiration.
Still are, man. Still are. Like,
so we we were brought up listening to that music, and it just, it turned into, we were telling this again, C and King Crooked from Long Beach. He's on the album, incredible MC.
He was in Slaughterhouse.
He was with
signed to Eminem, signed to Death Row before that. Like, just an incredible person, incredible lyricist.
Yeah. But our first 45 was Big Daddy Kane. Our dad brought home a 45 of Big Daddy Kane called Raw. The song was called Raw. And we were all singing. We have actually BTS, a video of us singing, like, as soon as I said, "Here I am, RAW," like 5 guys outside the studio, a terrorist, and they did the whole verse. And so that was our upbringing. So we were part of, the culture from infants. And it was just something that, over the years, we just knew it was our parents took us to see Beat Street, for people who remember the movie Beat Street, Harry Belafonte and the Blues Brothers. And those 2 movies as kids, we were like, we're kind of like,
lower, am I Jake? Are you Jake?
I'm a little heavier, so I'm Jake.
Oh, hey, man,
I'll be Jake. It's okay. Jake's cooler. No, Dan Aykroyd's pretty
Run a mission from God.
Yeah. No, but that was kind of our upbringing. So, and then, which is now Budweiser Soundstage, it was the old Forum, the revolving stage. And, I think it was like you pay $10 a ticket, but you sit, come first serve. So we saw James Brown there. We saw Sugar Khan. We saw the Commodores. We ended up working with the Commodores 25 years later, 30 years later.
Yeah.
But we saw all these acts. So that was kind of like
we were just enamored with it, man. And
it was our schooling.
It really was. And really thanks to our parents and just like Black culture in general. Like, I mean, I really do think in the last 100 years, African-American culture has had such influence on popular culture globally, because rock and roll, comes from blues. Blues comes from the gospel, comes from the grassroots, and all of this stems from the Black community, and then merging into like R&B and into pop and then hip hop, you know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. So I think like so much, even country music, like so much of this music comes from the Black community, and we've been just so appreciative that we've been allowed to we've been accepted into this culture that from little kids, we were just enamored and fell in love with the sound, with the beat, with the rhythm, with the wordplay, and really it saved our life. Like our parents and really like this music, I think saved our life, really.
What instruments do you guys play? Because I'm assuming with the house being so musical that you probably learned to play instruments at a young age.
Yeah, I'm the physical like producer. So I grew up playing. We both started piano, but Adrian.
I can BS with my mouth. I can't BS with my hands. Yeah. This guy is like.
So Adrian became the voice, the big mouth. Even though I'm more of the big mouth when you meet us in person, I'm more of the big mouth on stage and in videos.
When we meet in person, to give you one of these.
Yeah.
He's the big mouth. But I started with piano. And had a great jazz teacher for 10 years.
I spent more time in the washroom at the piano teacher's house
than actually doing it. But yeah. But
R.I.P. Miss Thompson, our first a piano teacher. I would sit in the washroom.
We were very old back then. So
I would sit in the washroom as a kid, make faces and time. And like you'd think she'd get hip to I was the same thing because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I hated it.
Because I didn't know.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And that was it. But then as you get older, I kind of like being that we played with so many live musicians, some great musicians from Toronto and stuff like that over the years, and American musicians. You even though I don't play another instrument, I understand how a bass player would play something if I'm playing it on keys. Nothing beats the real thing, but I play certain instruments or strings in a song that I know a live orchestra would kind of play it.
And we both have a knack for percussion and drums. I mean, you don't want
us filling in for your band.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The Weeknd doesn't want me as his drummer on tour. But if we
you haven't asked.
What if he asked? Well, if he asked,
he might say,
hey, nothing by the light. No, but I mean, if we had to pull it off, we could pull it off. And then for me, like I've always relied on my mouth, singing and rapping, and stuff like that. Like as a kid, I couldn't keep my mouth shut, as you're witnessing right now in live and in living color on the Kelly Alexander Show, people.
Which I appreciate. I have to ask you now, with this album, was it a long time in the making, and how did you decide to work with Doodlebug, like of Digable Planets? Like, this is amazing.
It's a
17 years, man.
It's a really cool story. So for anybody who wants to date themselves, we connected via MySpace.
Yeah.
For all those people. Yeah. For those who don't know, I used to be on ICQ. What's your ICQ number? But no, we connected on MySpace, and Digable Planets happened to be doing a show in Toronto. And
I think he was doing a song. With some rapper from Winnipeg or something. And they were doing I remember like,
tell us.
Yeah. Preach. Amen. No, he was doing a video shoot with some rapper from Winnipeg, but they were doing it in Toronto. So we met in Little Italy.
Yeah.
And we have a song called Deliveries on the song, because what's pretty cool. I don't want to talk about if they.
No, but wait. No, hold on. I got to cut you off.
Sorry. It's David Bowie's Labyrinth.
Amore.
Yeah.
Is the song.
Yeah. So we ended up doing a song. Called Amore. But back then, whatever, it
just never came out.
It just never came out. And now as an independent artist, there's a lot more platforms and vehicles. Even though there's more competition, there's more vehicles for your song to have a fighting chance. For it to be, loved and appreciated and cherished on an indie level. And so the song just kind of sat. And then, we had been like Instagram friends and Facebook friends over the years. And then COVID happened. And then like we just started having conversations. And like Doodlebug, who interchangeably goes from Doodlebug to CK7 to C. So if you hear us say CK7, C, Doodlebug, it's all the same. C knowledge, it's all the same person. And so we started just like talking, and then he's like, yo, what happened to that song? And Luke's like, yo, let me find it in my hard drive. And we're like, yo, why don't we resurrect it?
Why don't we start? Yeah. But we're like, why don't we just start putting some songs together and see? Because the great thing, there was no great thing about COVID. The only great thing about COVID was there was a lot of artists sitting around, and they weren't touring, they weren't doing things. So more people were inclined to check their DM, were more inclined to have conversations.
And that human touch is
and talk to people that maybe, and even though we already had a relationship, he's like, I ain't touring right now. So why don't we start putting together songs?
Yeah.
And it just, all of a sudden, one song became two, became three. And it was like it was just organically like, and then the Amores song became like, we didn't even touch that song. No. It was like, because again, it was so many years ago, but it was the kind of the jump off for us to actually come together. And we just built this great like bond, like three guys, like brotherhood with him, that it was so easy to like, oh, that beat. And I hear this. And Andrew's like, oh, I hear that. And then all of a sudden,
really
one song,
it was effortless.
And then last
pulling a great cast of friends, old friends and new friends that we just reached up, like Nicole White, who's on Mother Earth is Dying, she's just an incredible singer. And I knew about Nicole White, and Doodlebug knew her as well. I introduced Lucas to her because I was watching a show that 50 Cent produced called BMF, Black Mafia Family, about the Flannery brothers from Detroit who started this thing called BMF. And she plays Lucille. She plays Big Meech's mom on it. But I'm like, I was a fan of the show, but I'm like,
but then you heard her singing.
But then I heard her singing, and I'm like, oh my God, like she's under that umbrella of like Jill Scott and India Arie and Erykah Badu, like that very like kind of neo soul, and even jazzier than those artists that I mentioned. So I'm like, yo, like Nicole. And after
she says it in LA. She goes, because when you message somebody, especially men messaging a woman, it's like, who, what? It could be, you have to.
We never slide into someone's DMs.
No,
we always slide in passionately, and it's about music. But I understand the skepticism at first. People are gonna like, who are these clowns?
But then when she saw like, oh, Doodlebug, Digable, like she's like, okay, these guys are for real. They want to do something. And then like months after that, we were in LA for a video shoot at a studio. Got her to come to the video shoot that we popped in because we produced the tune. Shout out to Bishop Lamont. She came. We're like, yo, Bishop, can we like use the studio for 2 hours?
For like 2 hours to film or two while you're doing the videos. Like, yeah, man, have homegirl pass through. We did it. Boom. A year later, like
we shot a video. Yeah, literally a year later, almost to the date. We shot the video in New York because last year Digable celebrated 30 years. They were on tour with the Roots, so we got Black Thought in the video, which was so
the
dope.
Roots, yeah.
And yeah, we all, and that it's funny enough. Last year in August, when we shot the Mother Earth video, was the first time that Doodlebug and Adrian and I had seen each other since College Street, like
Little Italy.
So in Little Italy, so it's such a cool. That's the beautiful thing about social media. We know the lots of cons, but there's some really cool.
But
stuff.
Also about nurturing friendships, because you never know that a friendship that's kind of like, hey, just like, yo, what's up, man? Happy holidays or happy birthday.
Yeah.
But like it turns into more, and like we have so much. First of all, we grew up listening to Digable Planets. Like we bought that album, Rebirth of Slick. When we were in our teens. I remember buying it at a record store in South Florida. And I have the CD. We have Cool Like That on a cassette tape. But then years later, meeting with Doodlebug, meeting with C in Little Italy, but then fast forward to now, like we just love him like as a brother. He's such an incredible human being.
Yeah.
Like we were having fun a couple weeks ago in LA, like minus the videos and shooting. As human beings, we're simpatico on the same wavelength. And I think that's why this album, like we're so proud of this, and not in an arrogant way. Like it's just so organic and so authentic. And everybody who came on as guests really wants to be there, because sometimes in hip hop, you're like, yo, let me get this cat to jump on. And it's more about the money and what's the budget you're working on with and this and that. This was really like everybody who jumped
Labor
on.
of love.
It was a labor of love. And it's like, I don't know. I think you can feel it.
And that's
You
why
can
it's
feel
called
A Galactic Love
A
Supreme.
Galactic Love Supreme.
And C,
right?
and shout out to Doodlebug, like C came out with the name of the album. I believe A Galactic Love Supreme is a Duke Ellington song. And so C came up with the idea for the album title. And we're like, yo, we love it, man. And that's the beautiful thing. We didn't really fight each other on things.
No.
Like everything just like a puzzle. It just like Tetris. It kind of fit where it was supposed to. Because, you know, us as brothers, we have that Bert and Ernie kind of thing where sometimes it's a tug of war between each other. But with this and with C, like everything.
I'm clearly Ernie.
No, you're Bert, man.
No, you're the meaner one.
No, no, you're Bert, man.
People always call us Bert and Ernie. I'm like, we don't live together. like we're both fathers and husbands. People think like we still live together. Aberducky. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, we used to live together back in the day.
For the album sonically, like, is it all hip hop? Are there any house tracks on there? Or like, you know what I mean? Like soulful, like, yeah.
It's strictly, well, it's hip hop meets soul meets jazz meets some funk. I mean, there's some stuff that I don't want to give away, but yeah, like there's no house tracks per se, but the essence of it is
hip hop.
Is hip hop.
But I mean, we have one tune called "Breathe."
I don't want to give it away.
Well, come on, man, it's fun. But I mean, there's some songs, like there's one song, like you think the whole
Breathe.
song it flips and it goes into a totally different genre.
Mhm.
But then we've got DJ Skill Spins, who in that other genre, you know, if you want to say textbook, that the turntables wouldn't be living in that world in a traditional sense. But yet the marriage of it works, which is so cool. We have some songs where I'm straight singing and Doodlebug is just straight rapping. Obviously, Luke's playing and programming the beat machine and making all the producing it all. The three of us are producing all of it as a collective. But in terms of like the physicality of making the actual beats, it's Luke. And then again, we have DJ Skill Spins, cutting on 3 records, four records. We've got this incredible horn section called the Brassaholics from New Orleans, who are on a record. We've got I forget his name.
Bubby Lewis, who's an incredible bass player. He's played on like so many West Coast records.
Dr. Dre,
Snoop,
Tugboat, who's
another Tugboat, who's Digable Planet's bass player. And funny enough, the last song on the album that we finished recording was Amore. So we went right back to where we first met.
Yeah.
And we were like, I feel like I kept saying, I feel like we need to have it on the album. Adrian wasn't convinced. Doodlebug was like, it's a beautiful song. I reproduced it. The original vocals are still Adrian from 16 years ago or 17 years ago, whenever we recorded it. Doodlebug redid his verse.
Like all the songs are current songs.
Yeah.
It's the only oldie on the record.
But we got Tugboat to play live bass on it, and it just it was like a
the bass is what stamped it for me. I'm like,
I was like, wow. It made me cry, and I'm like, he goes, so it was like the 11th hour. We're like, because when we got the deal,
okay, you are Ernie then. Okay, you are Ernie then.
Proud of it. Okay, but it was cool because when we signed with Fat Beats, which is the label, we only had 6 records or 6 songs. I'm old school. I say records, 6 songs. And then it was like, we're not finished. We didn't feel like we were finished. And then 11 songs
after. Yeah.
Are you guys going to do spot dates or tour at all with this?
That's the
That's
plan.
the plan. That's what we're trying to organize
Yeah.
right now. We really want to do it because I think the album is so conducive to having a live show.
Yeah.
It's very theatrical, and it's very theatrical too. Like if you listen to the first single, Mother Earth with Nicole, like the way she finishes singing Mother Earth, like it actually sounds like I've always envisioned it like as a Broadway play, like Mother Earth, like a Galactic Love Supreme on Broadway. And like Nicole, like and then what Lucas did, like slowing down the production, what Bobby Lewis did,
The chaos of the world.
the chaos, and then her voice, like and then just her ending in falsetto, like it's very well. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen to the single yet, you'll hear it. Yeah, it's just very. So we need to take this show on the road for sure, and that's what we're in the tadpole stages of organizing.
I did want to ask you guys as well, being in Canada, obviously we have, and I'm obviously a proud Canadian here in Montreal.
Yeah.
We have a lot of artists that do hip hop and R&B. I think things have gotten better over the last X amount of years. Like, like people like Alessia Cara are making noise. Obviously The Weeknd is on like an international stage. Bieber is obviously on an international stage. But like when you look at like hip hop specifically and like R&B in Canada, has it been challenging for you guys to get noticed?
You know what? I think for us, like we've lived so many different lives in music where we've morphed and like evolved into so many different things. I think with us though, we've always been the
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
We've been Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the outsiders. It's our
NWO reference.
Yeah,
Wrestling reference.
But I think like the States has always been very open armed and a lot more loving to Lucas and I, and not that anybody, and I'm not even speaking about any like one in particular. It just, when we go to the States, like Bone Crusher's on this album. When we go to Bone Crusher to Atlanta, now he's living in Texas, we feel the love. When we hugged it out with Doodlebug at our hotels on Broadway Street in the summer, we felt it's a different level of camaraderie.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. We've always felt more love.
1,000%.
Going, whether it's New York, whether it's LA, whether it's Detroit, whether it's Atlanta, there's something where it's like there's more kindred connect. It's like being with kinfolk. Like it's like hanging out with cousins.
We've always had more love from our U.S. counterpart, and
I don't know if it's because Canada, we've always been. We're not as much baby brother to the hip hop scene now because you said like so much. There's been so much international success coming out of Canada in the last decade, but I don't know, there's some sort of a kindred spirit that we just feel at home, like even like we did a project last year with some great, incredible dudes. Shout out to Jomi, shout out to Jay Havana, to G Cardona. We did an album for Jomi, and Jomi is from the Bay, from Oakland and stuff. But these dudes, like where they're originally from, they're from Mexico. Jay Havana is Cuban, and I think El Salvadorian. But like with those guys, like cousins, like they drove 6 hours, Kelly, to the listening party we had with Doodlebug at Escala, K-Town. Shout out to OG Chino and DJ Monster for hooking all of that up. But these guys drove 6 hours from San Diego and San Jose to just hang with us. They're not on the album to show love, and like there's people that we grow up with won't drive 20 minutes to come to something.
But it's even the it's even the labels here. Unfortunately, Canada's always been, let's sign or let's work with the person that sounds like we need another Drake. Drake is great. Drake did what he did. He's created a big, he put Toronto on the map.
Absolutely.
Which is great. He's international.
He solidified his spot. His legacy is cemented.
But labels will go, well, we need the next that sounds like this, and I need somebody who sounds like that, and I need somebody who sounds like that. Now, America's like that too. But if you look at it, everybody had to, unfortunately, I mean, it's through the test of times. You could look at Avril Lavigne. You could look at Celine Dion. You could look, at what are the guys from Winnipeg, the rock group?
So many.
but you know the look at the. I always say look at this graph because it's that joke on. Right, Kelly. Look at
Nickelback.
Nickelback. Look at this graph.
I thought they were from Alberta.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that's what.
yeah.
I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah. But you know, no, but they all went stateside, blew up, and then Canada went, oh, let's bring them back, our great Canadian groups, and let's bring them on the Junos, and oh, let's give them hugs, and yeah,
you know who,
but when they were,
but you know who's ultra supportive?
but when they were,
Kelly from the Kelly Alexander Show.
because she's from Montreal.
No, but listen, Montreal. It's like, listen. I know we're hijacking the question, but like one of the things that
we're Tarantino.
No,
we're Tarantino.
We've got roots in Montreal. Like that's where a lot of our relatives first came when they came from Italy. They went from Detroit to Montreal, and then initially to Toronto. We have cousins in Montreal. My wife is from Montreal. We're a family of Habs fans in Ontario. But one of the things I've always loved.
Your wife is not here.
Yeah, no, not you. In my house.
Maple Leaf, true.
Yes, yeah.
Don't talk sacrilege to me in my home.
Yes.
This is my house right now.
Okay, we're in your altar. Yes. Okay.
Mitch Marner with the assist.
Yes.
Go Canada.
But one of the things I've always loved about Montreal is like a lot like the UK. Like the UK's always was ahead of time. Like back in the day with all the acid jazz. You know, like with the brand new heavies and with Jamiroquai and Galliano, like they were always like ahead of their time. And so like Montreal, I don't think gets enough credit for cultivating culture and music. And I think because it's that hybrid, you've got the French, you know, you've got the English, you've got a really, really also big Haitian population that brings such rich diversity to the music scene. I don't think that's celebrated enough. Maybe it is in Quebec. I don't think it's really recognized maybe in other parts of Canada. We've recognized, like back in the day, one of the most influential, like when people go, who influenced you in Canada? I'd have to say, I think Doodlebug, who was a rap group from Montreal that only rapped in French. They were so freaking like cool, man. And like when you listen to what we did, you might hear influences of that, like Doodlebug from back in the day. And we're like kids who grew up in Toronto, but we were really influenced. Like, again, groups. Alliance Ethnique was a group from France, but we listened to them because we watched Musique Plus and we learned about like even some of the hip hop that was happening in France that we thought was like so cool because it was jazzy. They were mixing like scratching with live instruments, which I thought was really, really cool.
I could talk to you guys all night. However, I need to ask you a few quick questions because I want, some of my audience who may not know you guys yet, but are knowing you now. Just a couple of, I call them fast facts. So I'm going to start with Lucas and then Adrian's going to answer the same question. If you could switch places with another artist or producer for one day, who would it be and why?
Dr. Dre. One of my favorites. Just his sound is incredible, and that he incorporated organic live bass with those drums, and his mixes like would blow your ears out. And to me, that was one of my biggest influential producers of all time.
Yeah, I think for me, it's Pharrell from the Neptunes because Pharrell sings. He's got that falsetto, but he raps. He does everything from hip hop to soul to disco to he's scoring films. So I think he's really, really influential for me.
Adrian, what's always in your fridge?
Always in my fridge, I'm going to say peanut butter. I'm trying to lose weight, so I've got organic peanut butter always in my fridge. That's no lie.
Lucas?
Rice.
Oh, that's
sticky
cool.
rice. My wife is Chinese Cambodian, and if it's not pasta in the house, me being Italian, it's rice. So you can never have enough rice in the fridge.
That's true. That's also true. If you guys could collaborate with any artist on your bucket list, who would it be and why, Mr. Lucas?
I want to be quick because I know this is quick. Geez, this you might have to go to you.
I'm going to say Outkast. I'd love like we're already working on Galactic. We're calling it a Love Supreme Part 2. We're actually calling it Part 2. I would love to get Outkast and say we reunited Outkast on a Galactic Love Supreme Part 2. For me, that would be like, holy moly, man. To get Andre 3000 and Big Boy. Like,
I would say who I would love to work with on the MC side, Common. One of my favorites is Common. Incredible. On the vocal side, I'd say Erica Badu.
Okay. All right, that's
Absolutely incredible.
This is why we like each other already.
Yeah.
What TV show from your childhood or even like in your, early 20s or whatever would you love to see rebooted and back on TV, Adrian?
you know what? I think I'd like to see.
It's an antique show.
Yeah, no, I love antiques. No, but honestly, I think The Sopranos. Like, I think at first I was skeptical about it being Italian. My wife's not Italian; she's from Montreal. She's German Trinidadian, and she's like, "You got to watch the show." When we were first dating, I'm like, "No, it's just it's another stereotypical show, stereotyping Italians." But then I got into it, and Tony really wasn't a mob boss. He really was like the president or CEO of a Fortune 500 company and all the other things that go with it. So I would love to kind of see like maybe the origin story, R.I.P. James Gandolfini, but his son looks just like him. So maybe an origin story, how it came to be the Sopranos of the early 2000s.
Knight Rider.
Oh my God.
Rider. I bought my first car was a 1988 Formula Firebird. My wife at the time, girlfriend, she hated it because it was rear wheel drive and a little bit of, I wanted to paint it black. I never did. And if they brought it back, they would still need a 1982 Trans Am. None of this new crap. They got to go with an old one. I'm going to get a perm.
I definitely have Michael his hair.
I will wear a leather jacket with a perm. And I'll talk to Mr. Feeney, who was the principal on Boy Meets World, but really and truly, his undercover he was Kit. He was the voice of Kit.
He was.
Yeah. Now, normally I ask a boy band or girl band question, but because we're hip hop people here, I'm going to ask if you could be on a group text with any hip hop group, who would that be and why?
Wu-Tang Clan, man. I think that conversation would just be so wild. Like, just all of them lyrically are just so different, like RIP to ODB. But if think about like the conversation with ODB, but then like Ghostface Killah and Raekwon, what they say lyrically, but then Method Man, but then the genius of RZA, who is able to keep all of these different chess pieces together. Think about like so many different personalities, and listen, the egos that go with personalities, right? So I just think like being on a text with all of those guys would be wild. And they would be another bucket list to work with any of the Wu-Tang Clan. They were very influential as well, especially me as an MC, Ghostface Killah, just because his rhymes are many times for himself. And if you can, it's like the Da Vinci Code. If you can decode it, great. But if not, it's cool. That's what I love about the way he rhymes. It's like, who cares if people don't like, some people are like sheer storytellers. He's a storyteller, but you got to do a little bit like peel back the onion. Wu-Tang Clan for me.
Okay, since you said Wu-Tang, I'll say NWA.
Okay, perfect.
NWA. I would love, rest in peace, Eazy-E, but we had a chance to sit with Ice Cube when he came to St. Catherine for 20 minutes because we're friends with Dub C, who is his right hand on stage, and he's an incredible artist himself. And we just talked about life, music, kids. But in that group in the heyday, I would have loved to have been in that conversation, man. Those guys, revolutionary.
And one of the cool things about Cube is like when he came up, because we were there to see Dub C, our friend, but like Cube came over, was like, "Yo, Dub, like I was wondering where you were at," and like he introduced us. But Cube, like, we've met people who are, I don't want to say everybody has equal importance, but if you look at the list of accomplishments, right? We've met people who've done a fraction of what Ice Cube have done and have been so like rude and arrogant. Cube, like he went, "Nice to meet you, Adrian. Nice to meet you, Lucas." He looked at us in the eyes and I'm like, wow, this guy with all of his success, to me, that was like, because sometimes, and Kelly, I know you would never disclose this is only for you personally, but you've interviewed so many amazing people. But sometimes after you meet people like, oh, damn, they're not as amazing as I thought. You can plead the fifth on that. So I'm like, we have so much love and respect for Ice Cube as an artist, and we still do thank the hip hop gods for that, man. West Side, yeah.
Boys, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having us.
We're a little verbose.
Congratulations. And I'll just tell my audience to make sure to check out their brand new album, A Galactic Love Supreme, again featuring Doodlebug. And also make sure that you hit up their website to grab all of their social media handles, gladiatorent.com. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Kelly Alexander, and thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, so you are the first in line for all the cool content coming your way.